Okay guys, let's be honest. We all saw the TikToks. I guess the TikToks became so popular that even Ben Stiller came upon them. Granted, it was all probably because he has a teenage daughter and she probably showed him, but still, you know? I've been meaning to watch Zoolander for like the past decade or so, but for one reason or another, I just kept pushing it back. I don't really know why. This movie always called out to me. It always looked kind of weird, but also like sick in a way. Granted, I do like a lot of Ben Stiller's work, so I might be a little bit biased. But I don't know, you know, for one reason or another, I just kept pushing the movie back and back and back, and finally I decided it was time that we checked it out. Honestly, this movie's kind of sassy. I mean, it's funny in like that old like 2000 era comedy kind of way. It doesn't really take itself too serious. I don't feel like there are some strong themes that it tries to shoot for, but for the most part it's like pretty lighthearted. I don't think that the humor is too offensive to today's standards, so it might be one of those movies that just holds up a lot better, you know? But okay, I get it. You guys are probably wondering what the movie's about if you haven't seen it already. Which, by the way, go watch the movie. I don't intend to replace the movie watching experience. I am of the belief that we should even submit ourselves to watching bad movies every once in a while because they help appreciate movies that are good. This movie isn't bad, that's not what I'm saying, but go check out the movie if you haven't already. Okay, so the movie basically starts with the titular Zoolander at the height of his career. He is a 3-time award-winning male model of the year in a row, and he is in contention for his 4th. Honestly, his success is all thanks to his signature looks such as Blue Steel or Le Tigre, but it's not a secret that he is working on a new revolutionary look that is it's just not ready. All that's really known about this new look is that it's called Magnum. By the way, I want to mention right now because it becomes pretty obvious right away, but all his looks are the exact same thing. They're not even like remotely different. They're exactly the same. Anyway, unfortunately for Zoolander, he ends up losing to newcomer Hansel. But him being as full of himself as he is, he believes he won and walks up on stage and just humiliates himself. And this is just made worse when he's labeled as an idiot by Time magazine. All of this together ends up causing him to lose his sense of self. Thankfully for him, he does have a close group of friends, a support system if you will, and although they're not the smartest cookies around, they do help Zoolander feel better for a little bit anyways. And I do say that because honestly the next part it's so predictable. Zoolander and his friends all go out as they attempt to cheer him up, and they decide to stop for gas, and they have this little scene where they start like wetting themselves with like those wipers at the gas station. And while Zoolander steps out to answer a call, the boys start spraying each other with the gas hoses, and then one of them lights a cigar and the gas station just explodes. And just like that, within the first 20 minutes, Zoolander has lost everything. All of this causes Zoolander to want to retire, which he announces at his friend's funeral. He heads back home to rediscover his roots. He heads back to his hometown, and everybody, including his family, rejects him. They don't explicitly say it, but it's pretty much because they think what he does is kind of gay. Anyway, from the very beginning of the movie, they kind of hint at there being this sort of international crime syndicate in the fashion world. This group of individuals is trying to puppeteer a fashion designer named Mugatu into assassinating the Prime Minister of Malaysia. And you might be wondering, Subtle, why would they want to kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia? And you know, it's actually pretty simple, because he wants to raise the wages to something reasonable. This obviously is a big no-no because I guess Malaysia is where most of the clothes are made for the fashion world, and raising the prices would make it harder to do business. Yeah, this movie is a little bit against capitalism and consumerism. Now, the Syndicate and Mugatu conspire to drag Zoolander into this, and they're actually able to do this quite easily. So I guess throughout the course of Zoolander's career, Mugatu never really tried to work with him. So after Mugatu expresses just the slightest hint of interest in Zoolander, Zoolander just comes out of retirement. Mugatu and his people end up brainwashing Zoolander so that when he's activated, he'll go and kill the Prime Minister. Zoolander ends up befriending Matilda, the journalist who wrote all that bad stuff about him on Time magazine, as well as Hansel. Of course, that's not until Zoolander and Hansel have a walk-off. Honestly, I've never really been into all that like high fashion stuff, but the walk-up is surprisingly kind of interesting, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like not taking itself too serious, like you could see that they're probably having a good time. Also, do you guys remember Titanic? The bad guy played by actor Billy Zane. I just thought it was hilarious that the person that tries to stop Zoolander from having a walk-off with Hansel is the bad guy in Titanic.
I heard some mad stories about this kid, man. He's limber. He's too limber. Put a cork in it, Zane.
It doesn't really have anything to do with the movie, but I just thought it was kind of funny. They end up finding out that all the male models that Mugatu has worked with have all died in really strange and bizarre ways. One of the surviving male models reaches out to them to tell them that for the past 200 years, the fashion industry has been using male models to perform political assassination. Anyway, together Zoolander, Matilda, and Hansel all go off to find some evidence to incriminate Mugatu, but not until Zoolander and Hansel somehow convince Matilda to have a gangbang. And I call it a gangbang because it's not just the two of them, it's the three of them, and then there's like these, like, I think it's like they're Appalachian little people. Honestly, this scene was really weird. Anyway, I guess at some point during their like sex scene, Zoolander realizes that he is in love with Matilda, you know, as one does. I guess the fashion world is just different, man. I didn't really mention this before, but Zoolander has an agent called Maury Ballstein. He's like the founder of Balls Models and Tushy Squeezer. Anyway, this guy works in cahoots with Mugatu, so when they find this out, Zoolander and Hansel break into his office to try to get that evidence that I was mentioning. They have like this Space Odyssey moment where they start acting like monkeys all the while the Space Odyssey music plays. Honestly, it's kind of dumb. Zoolander ends up deciding to go to the runway to do that fashion thing for Mugatu because of his principles, I guess. Hansel stays to try to get the evidence, but ultimately gives up and just takes the whole computer. The Prime Minister of Malaysia is like the main guest at the show, and when it's Zoolander's turn to make his way down the runway, he gets activated by the DJ, but then Hansel comes in and everybody just starts having fights all over the place. And ultimately Zoolander's team kind of wins, and Hansel, in what I can only describe as probably like the most confident stupidity, he thinks that like the files are inside the computer that he stole earlier from Ballstein, so he throws it on stage and it just breaks. Fortunately for him, Ballstein confesses that what Zoolander, Matilda, and Hansel are saying about Mugatu trying to assassinate the Prime Minister of Malaysia is true. This pisses Mugatu off and causes him to throw a throwing star at the Prime Minister of Malaysia to get back at him. Watching the Prime Minister of Malaysia about to die causes Zoolander to find it within himself to complete Magnum, and he uses the look to somehow stop the shuriken in midair so it doesn't kill anybody. I just want to point out that Magnum is also just blue steel. Anyway, throughout the whole movie, Zoolander expressed that he wanted to start a school, and at the end he is finally able to do such. He ends up marrying Matilda and they have a child. Apparently the baby is also made for modeling because at the ripe age of probably 0, he's already stealing his father's signature look when he hits us with the blue steel. Look guys, I'm gonna be honest, okay? I like the movie. It's not a masterpiece, and I get that. Like, if you're expecting something amazing, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like if you expect something to that level, you're gonna be disappointed watching this movie. This is honestly just a lot of fun. This is something you're gonna go into with like, you're gonna kind of turn off your brain and just vibe, you know what I mean? The jokes aren't too offensive, but then again, like character wise, like other than the fact that the characters are kind of sassy, like there isn't growth, if you know what I mean. Like Zoolander, he starts off kind of like egocentric and cocky and full of himself, and then when he loses everything, like he's still kind of cocky and full of himself, but like a little bit less. And then by the end of the movie, he's still kind of cocky and a little full of himself, but now he has like a better heart. Look, what I'm trying to say is go watch the fucking movie, okay? It's on Amazon Prime Video. Like most of you guys have Amazon Prime, just go fucking watch it if you haven't already. Go fucking rewatch it if you already have. You know, there's a second one on there too. I might make a video on that, but you know, I was gone for like half a year. Most of you that followed me from that one short that I uploaded that kind of blew up. I don't know when I'll be making shorts again, probably like not for a while, but I'm gonna try to upload videos like this again, so I hope you like it, because this is what you're getting. Yeah, thank you for watching the video. This has been Subtly Artistic. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.